Mike Maestri's going to do a little hand honing here.
Just taking off the burr.
So the buffer just lined up all the burr from the grinding wheel, and now you're taking that off.
Also referred to as the wire edge. The buffer lines it all up, but the buffer also thins it out a little bit as well and makes it a bit more cosmetically pleasing.
Right, it's a little prickly with the wire edge.
Yeah. So now that it's all straightened out, that first stroke ends up really kicking it up to one side, and then when you go back, it tears the majority of the wire edge off, and then you just go usually around 10 strokes or so to get the rest of the wire edge off, but then also just align the edge nicely.
I like alignment.
Keep things in line. Which is really one of the most important things of maintaining your own knife, is keeping the edge aligned, because a lot of people, they've been using their knife for a while and it starts to feel dull, and they think, the edge is gone. It's not. It's out of alignment. So put it on the steel and line it back up.
Maybe you can demonstrate how to use a steel too.
That could be arranged.
So do you put all the knives on the stone?
No. They all get honed, but this is the hand honing process. The vast majority of the knives that we end up providing to our customers in the service go through a honing machine, which is 2 cup wheels that are 2 honing stones, as you can see here. And they end up doing a very, very similar job as the hand honing system does, but you're able to do quite a bit more volume with this. But doing it by hand, you're able to, it ends up looking a bit better, but also knives with the bolster on them especially, you're able to get right in there, and it's a little bit, the knives with the bolster, they end up getting, they're thicker back here at the heel than they are at the tip. And when you put it through the honing machine, by the time you get back there, it's not as good on the machine, because you're putting a wider piece of steel through a narrower space, but then also if you get all the way back to the bolster, it can catch in the machine, and
so it's not as safe, and
it's no fun either.
Are there other types of knives that would be done exclusively on the stone by hand?
Yeah, the bigger knives that won't fit in that machine, or like cleavers, lamb splitters, pizza knives, pizza rockers.
So personal knives.
Personal knives as well. Yeah, I mean the personal knives will end up doing on the stone. There's some personal knives where it is not going to make any difference at all, because you end up, the bolster is the main reason that I'll put most personal knives on here, because oftentimes personal knives have a bolster. But otherwise it's partially cosmetic. When you look at the edge, you have one nice line when you put it through, when you put it on the hand honing stone. And there's one, if you can see all the way on the edge, is one nice consistent line all the way along, and that's the edge. When you put it through the honing machine, if the stroke is just right, you're able to get that, but otherwise it can bump around a little bit.
Sure, so the line wavers a bit more.
It wavers. I don't like wavering. So at that point they are actually about as far as you would need to go. But this grease buffer will even put a little bit more of a fine edge to it. You just have to do a little bit on both sides.
This is a grease buffer?
Yeah, well the compound that's on there is a grease. It's about, I don't think of what the grit is. It's more than 1,000. very, very fine. So you can use this for working on the edge, but you can also, if you spend a little bit of time on the side of the knife, you can get the mirror finish. Where, you can see it's already starting there.
You can see a reflection?
Absolutely. So, but you do have to spend a pretty considerable amount of time to get the real mirror finish.
So does this do anything for the sharpness of the knife?
Not when you're just going for the mirror finish, but when you're, like the first part that I did was just focusing on the edge, and it's not going to so much help out on the long term, the durability of the edge, more so it's just, it's going to make it really, really sharp to start with. And so, when you're able to maintain that edge, like if you end up using a regular steel, you can maintain that edge, but it's almost overkill. We don't do it with most of the knives, I think. But if you really want it to be, a scalpel or beyond.
Yes. Sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do. And it's excessively sharp.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a good tutorial.